Okay, it's very loud for a second. Yeah, so just bear with us. It's cool, huh?
Really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. I love it.
It's really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. I always, every
Big
time I
fan.
see it, I'm like, yay, yay. Hey guys. Okay, how's it going? Welcome. This is the Hive with Vivian. Can we get some emojis going just so that, you know, we know you're excited to be here? Today's actually a very special episode. One, you'll notice that we are at a different time. That's because my special guest today is in Europe. So as you know, VR allows us to come together from all over. So another special thing about this is that we're going to talk about elder care and older adults, and that's what I do for work. And that's what my guest David does. We're going to bring him on here. And it's very special for me. I've been working in the same field for 10 years. And it's just something I'm really passionate about, showing technology to older adults and getting them familiar with the changing technologies, right? Like iPads and their new phones and now VR. So David, come on over here. We're going to talk about oh, hi, should we interview you? How's it going? Stomping Heads. I like your name. Great color. You look wonderful. You know what? Why don't you be my sidekick and just stay there? All right, David, welcome. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Just tell us a little bit about what you do, real quick.
Yeah, so I'm David, and I work in elder care for a company called Patina. We have around 3,000 clients, and we have 30 elder care homes. So I work at the human technology department, and we try to use technology in a good way to help our elderly, but also our caregivers. So that's sugar quality.
In short, that's actually pretty amazing. So David and I have just kind of been in touch a lot over Twitter because, it's the same thing. So I always admire what he posts and all the cool things he's doing. But what got you into this field?
So I started 10 years ago to study social work. It's already been a while. Then I started to study at A levels. Worked with youngsters. I worked with children. I worked with adults. I worked with people with physical disabilities and psychiatric disabilities. So like the whole scope of wild field, and I worked with a lot of different clients. Then I studied a bachelor degree as a social worker, and then I got some more experience, did an internship in abroad. So I went to, for example, Indonesia, I went to Suriname to also be a social worker there and help people. And now I started the master's last year in human technology. So a master's in digital innovation and social work and healthcare. So how can we use technology in a way for in social work. So then I started to do my internship in healthcare. So that's how I got started as my job at Patina.
That's okay. Wow. That's quite extensive. Like I accidentally got into this field, so by chance, but you really went for it. That's cool. Wow. Okay, we're gonna talk about your travels, but you're specifically, working with VR right now. So what got you into, VR and helping people? How did that start?
So VR started with Nathan, my brother. So 6 years ago, we had like the DK1. I have to admit, like back then, I didn't see like potential for like social work or healthcare. Also because like the experience weren't that great, but very interesting. And like the moment like the DK1 DK2 came out and it evolved more and more. people really started to also in social work to have interest in virtuality, but most of the time it was like in like exposure therapy. So that's how I got more like interested in, okay, if they do something with exposure therapy, so then there are probably more possibilities. So that's a bit how it started.
Well, what specifically with VR, like applications, are you doing right now? What kind of content? How are you demoing it?
Yeah, so I think we have like two big problems or like obstacles. So we have like a really big aging population, but also the workforce is increasing. So we have less people who can work like in elder care, but also at the same time we have more elderly. So it's like I work on both sides. When I started, I was thinking about like creating content like for elderly. Of course, that's great. But then I was thinking, how can we train the workforce, so our employees in a better way, and so they can give more care and better care to the elderly, because we will have a limited amount of workforce in the future.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so like real briefly here, I just want to mention that I work in this field, the aging industry, and you might think of it as maybe a place where people go in their homes, nursing homes, that type of thing. But there's just so much work that there is to do in this field, and it's very, very needed, and it's going to continue to grow because our people are living longer and they are really in need of care. So this has like been just a field that is in need of a lot of talent, and I have a blast at my job because I get to play with VR, I get to help people. Sometimes we do book clubs, there's just like so many fun ways to interact with people. But for me, I focus on the fun stuff, like helping people to just like live fun lives, and that's what I do with VR.
Mhm.
But David's right. Those people living with dementia around the world. I mean, these numbers are staggering. And that's the thing about aging, is that it affects all of us. We have people in our lives that are getting older. We're getting older.
Mhm.
So definitely, really, like a big thing. I know I really get like really into it. So what are you? Tell me like a little bit more about what your big project is right now, or what's coming up for you.
So at the moment I'm working on a project where medical staff can go. So we want to like focus on the standalone VR headsets. So in the future that caregivers can take a VR headset home and can do their
Mm-hmm.
like medical procedures at home, because now like a lot of personnel has to like at certain times, for example once a month, they have to go somewhere else, so they have to drive there, they have to come together all together, and they can choose like when they want to do that training. And in VR I think even so in the Netherlands there's like a program, and you can get like points for the trainings you do. So you can do physical trainings, you can do trainings like in theory, and then you get points for that. But I think like
Well,
when you use, yeah.
wait, that's interesting. What do you mean by points? Like,
So it's like an accreditation for you as a nurse. So it's
oh, okay, I see.
all the points that will give you like some kind of credit you can build up. So in a few years they say like for example some medical procedures you don't have to do again, but like in 5 years you have to do them again. So those points will translate to how much experience you have like in the work with the medical procedures. So with the points, like you, like normally you can do a training. So you have a simulation, for example, with a doll or other people, and then you get points for that. But I think like with VR, you could even get more points because you can simulate every situation. You can have like somebody who needs care like in the middle of the night, or other random
Hmm.
situations you can't like do in the office where you have like a practicing area. So I think that's even more useful than practicing in real life.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's like the more you get into it and talk with people, the more you like realize that you can do.
Hmm.
So I show people how to use VR, like older adults. I demo them at our locations, and I have some practices, you know, just to get it right. I'm sure people here have showed their family and friends VR, and you know, maybe they broken some your furniture and or fallen down, things like that. What are your best practices for showing people VR?
For elderly, like what I do at the moment is like not something with controllers because I notice that it's too difficult for them to use controllers.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people like till the age of 35 maybe have some experience with computers or consoles. Elderly don't have that experience, so I noticed that like they just press the buttons or they just like hold them in their hands like, what is this? What can I do with it?
Right.
So I
Right.
just let them experience. I think that's the first step. Like also you can see here, like on the photo,
Yeah,
this
tell us about
elder
this.
lady. At the moment she's like playing the blue VR. But
Oh, yeah.
before she played an experience that was like perfect VR and dreams. Um, and she told me that she was like living when she was younger. She lived with her husband. She lived in the mountains in Switzerland, and she never went back. So she was 100 years old, and when she lived there, she was between 20 and 30 years, and she lived there for 6 years. And then she went back, and then she had an amazing experience. Like, oh, this is like makes me remember like back in the day when I was in
Yeah.
Switzerland. And when she put out the headset, she got like really emotional, and so that showed me that was like one of the first tests I did with elderly, and that really showed me the power of VR. Even though people before, a lot of people said, yeah, but technology and elderly, but the experiences I have also with iPads, like or other apps, applications, they really love it. But it just needs to be really simple for them. And like the
Yeah,
most
I agree.
interfaces, the interface, for example, if you would say like, here's a computer and you start up Oculus Home, they don't know how to work with that. But if you put them in the right experience, where they can experience something, like also you can see here, like how she holds the controllers, more like, okay, I'm holding them, but I don't know why I'm holding them. Um, so yeah, that's some great experience, especially in different environments, because they live in elderly homes. They don't have the ability to travel anymore. So if they just go to a
Yeah.
beach or they just see something pretty, that's for some that it's already enough. But some you gave them experience and then they say, I want more. Can I explore more? Can I see more? Can I do more? But then the difficult thing is the controllers again. That's what
Yeah.
I
I
experienced
yeah.
in the field.
Yeah. I found the same thing. And I'm a little torn because I've also seen other people who work with VR. I feel like there's some companies who are just like rushing it to market and not really
Mm-hmm.
considering the content. I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them are showing just like 360 only content. Whereas
Yeah.
I found that when I've shown 360 content and then when I put them into the Vive, it's like they don't even remember what they were just seeing. They're really immersed
Mm,
into this one. So, and I do the blue too. That's
yeah.
my
So,
that's
but
the
the
first one I
interesting
do.
thing is like also with the blue, like they don't wanna grab things. They don't wanna like a lot of people go in VR. They want to grab things, shoot guns, build things, do a lot of things. They just want to touch things. I think they just look for
Yes,
the interaction.
yes.
They just try like for
Hmm.
example in perfect VR, there's some snow. They just want the snow to fall on their hands. They just want to
Yeah, yeah.
touch the whale or like they and then see what like give it what it does back. For example, I also now like had a lot of great experiences with like Nature Track VR. It's a little bit more interactive, but then they just want to touch the deer or they want to touch the tree and just see
Yeah.
if something happening.
That's for me too. I'll give you a tip there. When they are in the blue, I like maybe spray a little bit of water on them. When they touch like the little flowers, I've like put my head under there so they touch my hair.
Mm.
There's the funny thing that they do is that they will take one controller and put it in their hand and use their real hand to touch
Mm.
the
True.
environment is what I found.
Mm.
And that's funny. And in Perfect, that's actually a perfect one. I do that one as well. One lady, she was just like, "What if I go over there? Will I get wet? Will I go in the water?" And I said, "If you go over there, you will be on top of a desk, but you can try, you know." So yeah,
uh,
they really just it's like
true.
super. Um, it's I love it because I've shown it to maybe at this point. over 200 different older adults,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some people who won't try it at first,
Not true,
but then when
true.
they do, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I've had pretty much all positive experiences. Even if they don't want to continue, they have so many
Mm-hmm.
questions.
True.
Especially with when I talk about social VR, yeah, they're
Mm-hmm.
really interested in the idea of us interacting like this. Have you ever shown any social VR to anyone?
Not yet, but I really would love to try some social VR. But I didn't try that yet. But it would be really great to do like a project
Yeah.
with some social VR and just let them interact with each other, just in a really easy and basic way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Especially like I wrote like a small like essay about like loneliness and how we may
Right.
maybe we can battle like loneliness with like social PR because like
Yes.
there are a lot of people who just sit at home and like when the Oculus Go came out I was like okay that would be amazing. You just grab the headset, you put it on, and then you can go in an application, but it's a bit too difficult still for them, but like to connect them in like an environment like that is especially for elderly and that's safe and that's being moderated for them, that would be amazing to just connect with each other. Just make it really simple. There's one chair, there's another chair, and they just go in the headset, they put the headset on, they sit next to another person and they can just communicate. Because that's the
Yeah.
thing, like, okay, the best
I.
thing, yeah,
Yeah. No.
the
Go ahead.
best
Go
thing
ahead. Continue.
the best thing would be to like of course like I always like support like volunteers coming by or family or friends or that's the most amazing thing, but for some people it's just not possible, and there are a lot of
Right.
elderly just sitting at home being very lonely, even though they just could grab a headset and put it on and
Yeah.
really have this interaction like we have and could sit in the audience. It would be just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's what I focus on at work. I always say this, but I don't know if you know this. The part of the brain that feels loneliness is the same part that feels physical pain. So it's like you could really be hurt from loneliness, and so
Mm-hmm.
it triggers the same thing. And that's what I do. I help with a program that reaches people who are isolated. So people who maybe are homebound, they
Mm-hmm.
don't have anything around them. So we do something called telephone topics, which sounds crazy, but it's literally that's the easiest technology that everybody has. It's
Mm-hmm.
completely free, and people just dial in, and we have live conversations every weekday. And so I'm trying to figure out how to do that with VR. So I'm excited with the
Mm-hmm.
Quest coming out.
Yeah, because
Um,
that's very interesting. Because in the Netherlands, there's this institution. They have like a bingo. I don't know if it's also in English, but bingo
uh-huh.
with the numbers, and you can. So they did
Hmm.
like bingo on the phones with on the little screens, and then they were doing bingo to activate the elderly, and then at the end they were just calling each other and doing bingo with each other, even though there was not this activity to do bingo. And that would be
Right.
interesting to do something like that in VR to connect them and bring them together.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. If you guys have questions, by the way, you just go ahead and press that ask a question button,
Yeah.
or you can use the little hand emoji. But aside from your work, you
Mm-hmm.
also have opportunity to do some other amazing things. So tell us a little
Sure.
bit about your adventures in VR.
Yeah, so I think that's like the cool thing to do. So I work as for my brother as a business manager for the YouTube channel of Nati, and that gives me the ability to travel a lot and meet a lot of developers and other interesting people, for example like you, to like connect with them and talk about, of course, like the gaming, the entertainment industry, but I try to bring all that knowledge and all that experience and the great stuff everybody's doing in the VR industry, like bring it back to social work and healthcare, because there's like this
Yeah.
huge gap between there. So how can I translate all this great stuff that's going on to what I do? So that's a bit like the mix what I do. So I work for most of the time for Nati behind the channel, and next to that I try to use all that. Yeah, so here we're at
Oh, yeah.
OC5. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
was fun.
so I went with Nate, but also went to some meetings uh, to like talk with other people about like social work, healthcare, social
Yeah.
PR stuff like that. So that's really cool to have the opportunity to like combine those two things to do something great. Yeah, I really love it.
That's cool. Yeah, I've heard about Nathan. He has a YouTube channel. It's kind of popular, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so is that him right there? This one?
I think it looks like him.
Yeah. Yeah, it
He's
looks
a
like
big
him.
fan of you, right? He's like your biggest
Yeah,
fan.
he is a huge fan. I know. He writes to me often. I can't always answer him, but yeah, look, I mean, what is this
Oh,
awards? Like I'm so honored that he put me on his tuxedo, but it's not really
so much
professional, but I'm
merch.
really honored. Oh my gosh, look. Yeah, I'm
Again.
so touched. Yeah,
Also there,
that's so great. Oh
this
wow.
guy.
Oh, wow, he's such a that's you're welcome. You're welcome,
So
Nate. Um,
so apparently that's in a secret closet because we live in the same house. So I'm now in the stream studio and he's at the main studio. So we're next to each other, but he has this secret closet that I can't look into. And sometimes he says I want to do like a secret wash in the washing machine, and I can't see. But now I understand. There's like so much merch. He has a whole closet full
yeah,
of merch of you.
yeah. I'll have to send him more stuff. That's so nice.
I think it's because of the pink. It doesn't go well with the whites.
The pink doesn't go well with white.
The pink
Wait,
color.
look at this.
If you put it in a washing machine, everything will turn pink.
That's true.
Oh, gotcha.
You have to wash it
But I
separately.
mean that's a
true.
cool tuxedo. Yeah, I know.
You do
I
a lot of
just wanted
washing.
to be professional. Yeah, that's great. So does Nathan like work with you? I know that he does a lot more gaming, but I think you guys have talked a little bit about wanting to do a little bit um, more towards the work that you're doing.
Yeah, so we're looking into healthcare, and at the moment he's focusing really hard on the channel because like that's the main thing he does. So I'm like more
Mm-hmm.
like in between at the moment and focusing more on the healthcare side. But yeah, it would be great to like do something together. So we have some ideas to make a game that you can like get empathy, like feel empathy for youngsters, to feel empathy
Mm-hmm.
for elderly, and work in elder care. So at the moment, I'm also studying a master's in serious gaming. So how can we use like games
Oh
in
wow, that's cool.
in a way to, for example, to what's that, activate or like encourage young people to let them really empathize with elderly and elder care, because like a lot of youngsters think that elder care is like something that's boring, it's not fun,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of
It
stigma around
isn't.
the topic, and it
Yes,
definitely
yeah.
isn't. It isn't. So with a VR game like that, it would be really great to like let them experience a different way and let them think about the topic in a different way. And why not use video games? That would be just, I think that would be amazing. So that's like something Nate is also brainstorming with me about and planning, and but it's like more like stuff behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. And actually, at a conference, I heard that they were talking about gaming. It was in this industry, but they said that the highest, like the largest population of online game, like not like online gaming, like
Mhm.
bingo, like you were saying, is older adult women, and that's because they're more likely to be the caregiver of their loved ones. And when you're a caregiver, I mean, that's like a whole other topic, but that it's a lot. It's draining. You're doing a lot for the person. Even if any of you here have taken care of a sick relative or anything, that it can be taxing and you can't really leave. So gaming has been like a really good alternative. So I'm excited to see anything in VR, make it much more immersive. So that's cool. We could probably talk forever about this, but it looks like we have a
Mhm.
question here. I want to make sure we get people's questions in. Let's see,
Yeah,
Gas 714. Do you have a
is that
question?
me?
That's you, yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of off topic about what you guys are talking about currently, but
Mhm.
How off
since you guys
topic?
seem to know a lot, I was wondering
We know a little bit.
um, like, are you guys worried about the dangers of VR and like the blue light it emits?
No.
You're not?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Actually, the Vive has the blue light thing.
Yeah, I like blue, so I'm okay with it.
No, when it's when it goes to be night, it tones
Yeah.
down the blue light.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, there is that
Okay.
option I've seen. Yeah, like the blue filter, it's called. But let's see. We have Feral Punk. Did you have a question?
Hi there. Hi.
There you
I
are.
was wondering if
Hey.
you
Hi.
guys had ever. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
I
can hear you.
I was wondering. Oh, cool. I was wondering if either of you had ever used VR with an individual with epilepsy, and if there's any risk about that. I'm just thinking about what's it called? Is it photoreactive? Which, a certain type of rapid light can trigger a seizure. But I was just wondering if there's any risk there, and if either of you had any experience with that, epilepsy in particular.
So I don't have any particular experience with that, but I know like I think it works because we're like in the headset we have a screen, so I think it works the same as like a computer screen. For example, if you start up your PlayStation, it always says like there could
Sure.
be a risk for people with epilepsy. So no, I don't know how it works with VR headsets.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe there are online some interesting researches about that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think you should do some
Yeah, I
research
could check
before
it
you
out.
put somebody with epilepsy into VR, because if it can be a risk, you should do proper
Sure.
research. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely couldn't give
Yeah.
you advice on that, but I will say that you are not the first person to ask that. Somebody asked that a few weeks ago at another episode,
Oh, really?
and one of our guests, the person that kind of introduced us, she has epilepsy. She works with VR, and so I had
Okay.
asked her
Oh,
about
wow.
it.
Yeah.
And there are warnings, of course, for it. So, but there are people out there who are talking about this topic. So I definitely encourage you to go out there on social media, go ahead and ask the question. The VR community is really responsive.
Yeah.
So, but that's interesting. Yeah, you're not the first one to say that.
Thank
So thank
you.
you for that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's
You're welcome. Oh, whoops, she disappeared. Richie, did you have a question?
Yes, actually, I do. I was wondering about the VR thing related to the healthcare and the elderly. Is there like a network of healthcare providers across different countries? Like, for instance, a lot of Dutch expats live in Australia, for instance. Would it be an idea to have those old relatives set up with a VR headset and that way communicate with people in Europe?
I
Or
know
like,
that.
well, from any country to any country, basically.
Yeah, of course, from any country. But I know that there are some projects with like 360 videos to record videos in the Netherlands and play them in elderly care homes in Australia. And I know there are some people who tried VR, but it's really small. Like they tried some VR with some relatives who, like for example, the grandmother who lived in Australia. But I don't know if there's like a network who's like working on that. But I know there are a lot of expats in Australia, and they're trying with new technologies to improve their well-being and life. Because especially with dementia, you go back into your childhood. So you go back in your native language. You remember things of those days, and most of the expats grew up in the Netherlands. So to give them that great memories and comfort them, that would be great to have some content and people that can connect with in the Netherlands. That's true. But also coming back to that social VR would be interesting if you put like elderly in a safe environment where they can connect and be social together. You can also connect it with Australia. Like now I'm here like from Europe, and like we're all coming here together. So that would be the same with like Australia. Of course, it's a time difference, but it's a different
A
thing.
little bit. Hey, if you follow me
Yeah.
on Twitter, we were talking about VR time zones right now, so it's a hot topic with time zones. So get on Twitter. Let's see. We have time for one more question, but you can ask David questions after we end. Let's see. The senior guide. You came on again.
Hi there.
Say
Can y'all
hi.
hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi.
Hey. Yeah, this is a great discussion. Just a quick question. I work with seniors for about 4 years. I'm starting a service where I help seniors set up their computers and use their computers, but I do it remotely. Do you guys have any experience with that kind of service? And also, I would love to introduce them to VR. And the nice part about AltSpace is you can use it on a desktop or a laptop within the 2D mode. So have you guys done any of that, and what's been the response from that?
Okay, I'm just going to repeat the question. The senior guide here just asked about helping older adults with remote technology as well. Is that correct? Yeah, and if we've had any experience with it, David?
Not in my work, but the experience I have is with our grandmother, who now has like a tablet. It's a tablet for elderly, so it's like a really simplified interface, and there are only a few options. You can send a message, and they have like volunteers who come by. So if you have a new product, they really come to your house. They talk to you. They take the time. They also have like a help desk. That's like open almost 24/7, and the people are really trained to work with elderly and like how to respond on the phone. And you can go from their office, but also from my smartphone, I can go into my grandmother's iPad or like tablet, and I can go into, if she says like, no, this is not working, I don't know what to click on, then I can just like look with her together, and then we can find a solution how to work with it. So that's the experience I have. It's more like personal. I don't know if you have any experience with it.
Yeah, that's actually my job. I do not like tech support, but like I do something called a tech table where people bring in their devices and ask me questions. They can ask me about social media or how to like get started on their phone. I teach those classes too. And mainly what I always hear is just that our customers just say like no one, like their kids don't want to teach them basically. So it's just like treating them just like with dignity, and that, they feel really dumb basically. And you just want to make sure that you're being friendly and understanding about the fact that it is not intuitive for them at all. And they just appreciate any help really. But yeah, I've done remote work like on the phone. There's so many creative ways to do it now. So definitely you can reach out to us on Twitter, and offline too. There's several discussions within AltSpace that talks about this. I think Chuck Webster, he does something in this field. So definitely stick around. That's a great question. We do have to sign off right now. So I want to say thank you, David, so much for coming. I'm so glad we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do it again because this could have gone on for a really long time. So thank you. And everybody else, thanks for coming out. I know it's a weird time right now, but thanks for coming out for this special episode. Yeah. Next week's episode, we have Orbis. They were our guests last year before they launched, and they have a new game, Reborn. So they're going to come on and talk about that. We're really excited. Hung out with them at OC5 as well. And I want to thank everyone that helps with the Hive, and that is Michael over there, our producer, Vince, who's streaming. We have Suzanne over there who's moderating. All of you who shared it on social media, even Nathy, my biggest fan. It's great. Thank you so much. We can't do it without you guys. So follow us on social media, get in touch with us, and look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Someone's on here.
Put your hands up.
Everyone get on and dance. All right. Thank you.
How'd you get your character to look so detailed?